Welcome to the very first Racebox podcast with your host, Hussain, and
My
my
name's
employee,
Anastasia.
Anna.
This is called Outside the Box.
Is that really the name we went with?
Yeah, that's what we went with. I literally sent the group chat. I was like, okay, guys, I have a few options. What do we want to call this? And I gave them the options, and only one person responded. So I was like, okay, I guess we're going to use that. So we're outside the box because we can talk more than just work. Talk about Hussain's life that y'all are so
Why does
amazing
everything
about.
have to be based around my last name? Racebox, Outside the Box.
Who came up with Racebox?
Not I, surprisingly, actually. It wasn't
Really?
me. Fun fact, my buddy came up with it. The guy who did all this branding. His name's Mustafa. He's like one of my best friends. He came up with it. I used to be called AMW Tuning, for those of you that remember. AMW was confused with AMS a lot, which necessitated the rebrand. Where do I look? Do I look at you or do I look at the camera?
I don't know. It's just talk normally.
Okay.
Why not? See, A&W
So, yeah.
reminds me of that restaurant. You like the root beer place?
A&W? Hell yeah. I used to go there in college all the time.
Dude, there was one off of I-10 not long ago and they got rid of
Really?
it.
Did they have real root beer? Like the one that it's like draft root beer and they give you the ice cold mugs?
I don't think so. I think it was that machine. Like
I used to only go to
everything
A&W for that. I felt cool.
else. That was cool because
'Cause I
I
don't
think that
drink.
was after my time.
That was after your time?
Yeah.
Like you're saying
Before.
it existed before you were born? Probably, since you're born like what, 2007?
2000? That's Ronnie. Ronnie was probably born like 2012.
That's a scary thought.
Terrifying thought. So, why did we start this podcast?
Popular request. Also, I have to say this so Mark doesn't get mad. Mark asked me to do a podcast a year ago, maybe longer, and I was like, yeah, man, let's do it. And then he told me to buy a mic, and I was like, that's too expensive. And I didn't buy it. And then the other day, Anna was like, hey, we need mics. And I was like, okay, just go buy mics. So I'm sorry, Mark. We'll do a podcast together, I promise.
And now here he is with two mics. Two nice, shiny mics.
They're actually not that expensive. They were cheaper than I thought they'd be.
Yeah, same. I didn't realize the price range on these was a lot higher until I looked at them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, I used to think they were like the coolest thing because everybody uses them in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they're not.
Like the Twitch gamers and the League of Legends gamers. Would you do that?
I would stream on Twitch.
No shit.
Yeah, I just show people. But see, I couldn't because I would alienate like half of our customer base with the kind of horrible things that I say when I play video games.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think you can't release a clean version of a gaming stream. It's not entertaining.
It doesn't exist.
It's not real. It doesn't.
No. And like, I don't know if any of our customers, I'm sure some of them play League of Legends. I am constantly chat banned. Like, I get unchat banned, and then I'll have like 3 games and I'll say something and they'll ban me again. I'm surprised I have not been permanently banned from League of Legends.
I played that game, I think maybe once or twice, and it was even too toxic for me. I had to stop because it was giving me blood pressure issues, man.
Really?
Yes.
You're one of the most toxic drivers I know.
Yeah, I am. And that game was too much for me. But that says
I
anything
wonder what that says about
y'all.
me then.
To be fair, I think you might drive a little bit crazier than me. Actually, I don't think it. I'm pretty confident.
I mean, I did run someone off the road with a trailer last time after Atco.
Yeah, you did.
Note to anybody who sees the blue truck and the Racebox trailer, if I'm driving in the left lane and you come in going 55 and my brakes lock up, I will cut you off with the trailer.
That is between them and God at that point. God, Allah, whoever.
Facts.
That's it.
It's true. All right, let's get to the stuff.
All right, so what are our plans for the podcast? Just while we're on the topic, we might as well talk about it. What are we trying to do with this? I know I already asked on the Instagram.
I don't know. I guess we'll see where it takes us because there's so many things that you could talk about on a podcast, and I mean, it could just be bullshit like what we're doing right now, or it could be questions that people have. I have a feeling it's going to start off with a lot of VR30 stuff because we're mainly pulling our questions from the Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure people will start asking other questions and then we'll get more and more. It'll lead its own way, I guess. We'll just see where it goes. I don't even know who's going to listen to this. Like, I don't want to listen to myself talk, so.
The 200 people on Instagram that said they were going to, we'll see. We'll see.
Can we track views and listens on a podcast like you can YouTube videos?
Actually, we can. On a distribution site, we can
We
see
should
everyone
call
posting.
them out. If we don't get at least 200 views, we should call them out. Or listens. What is it even called? Listens.
I guess listens. I guess they're like clicks or whatever you would call it online on the audio. I'm new to the audio thing too.
I've never done a podcast. YouTube was also new for me.
Literally, Dong got me on this on the road trip where we picked up this.
Who's Dong? You should explain that. You know what?
Okay.
We should explain this for all of our listeners on the podcast. They should get something to know that other people don't.
Yeah, so this is a lot more personal for us. This is part of why I got excited and wanted to do a podcast, because I feel like on the YouTube, on the Instagram, the Facebook, we're really limited in what we can say and how much you can say. Not that we really keep anything from people, but this is more raw. We can just talk on here, which is nice.
Yeah, we can just go into things that we wouldn't otherwise talk about. Sorry, I'm looking at the mics to make sure that they're working. You know what? I bet you this podcast is going to have horrible audio quality while we figure out how to isolate mics. I want you guys to know it took me and Anna 2 days to figure out how to get all the equipment set up and everything. And I'm still worried that it's just going to stop working halfway through. But yeah, so Dong. A lot of times we'll reference Chadong or Dong or Dongalicious or Dongalong in our videos, and when you see me like on Instagram Live. That's Alex Yee, the tall Asian kid. He's the main media guy. We call him Dong because I'm an asshole, and his real name in Chinese, I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong, is Chitong. That's how he told me, and I think my literal words were, "That's too hard. I'm gonna call you Chitong." So that's just his name. So everybody calls him Dong. If you come into the shop unannounced and like we don't know that there's a customer outside, you will definitely hear at some point one of us just scream, "Dong along!" We're looking for him. So that's who Dong, Chadong, Dongalicious, Dong, Dongy Wongy. There's so many nicknames for him. But yeah, sorry to all of my customers that have Chinese names. I swear I'm not a racist. I just love Chadong.
It's okay, you can cancel him now because there's definitely more variations that we're not talking about.
There are a lot of variations. Also, I'm brown, so can I be racist? I mean, everybody calls me Hussain.
Hussain?
Dude, I never understood it. It's a pretty simple, like, I understand there's a lot of like Arabic derived names that are hard to pronounce, right?
Yeah.
But there's no hard letters in Hussain. There's no weird, consonants next to each other or anything. It's Hussain. I never understood how people take that and they drop the other, like, oh, Hussain. I've had people call me Hussein. I've had people call me Hassan, Hassan. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about Alex calling his friend Hassan. But anyway, as a joke. But anyway, like people mess up. But then the other one that's really messed up is they pronounce it right, Hussein, but they write it Hussian. Like, is the majority of the general public dyslexic? Like, I genuinely wonder this because I don't know how you write IAN and then call me Hussein.
It's like Hussein.
Yeah, Hussein or Hussein. It's just weird.
I don't know. It's a pretty common name too, I think. Hussein is not an uncommon name.
It's not. So I thought that when Obama became president, I'm like, yeah, they know somebody with the name Hussein now. Barack
right.
Hussein Obama. Nope, still Hassan.
They don't bring it up.
Yeah.
It's
anyway,
simple things that we mess up.
These mics are heavy to hold. We should get stands.
It's like kind of awkward. I'm not gonna lie.
If we get 200 views on or 200 listens on this, I'll buy us stands so we don't have to hold these. These things are like a good 10 pounds.
Maybe I think more like 5.
I'm resting it on my fat. I'm sure this looks very flattering.
Just proving you don't lift. You know what's funny? Mo literally told us too. He's like, y'all need to get a table so you can bolt those to the table or like set them on something while you do the podcast. We're like, no, we're just gonna hold it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
We don't listen to a lot of the advice that Mo gives.
No, and Mo's probably the best one to give advice.
Mo's probably the most level-headed person on the team. So like, just know if you make Mo upset on the phone, like you've really messed up.
Committed a sin.
Yeah, because I have a short fuse. Moonshine has a short fuse. So if you're dealing with Mo and somehow you manage to piss off Mo, you messed up.
It was probably your fault at that rate, and we're probably most likely going to believe Mo.
Yeah, 100%. I just know we talk crap about you.
He's shop dad for a reason. I can't tell you how many customers have come in and
Big Daddy Mo.
I'm like, oh yeah, he's shop dad. Come in with food for.
He does have Big Daddy energy.
Advice. He does.
Yeah.
He really does. Not in a weird way, like in a legit way.
In a weird way. You should hold the mic closer. I see the little. I think your voice is gonna be very
Oh, is
quiet.
mine lower?
Mic. Yeah. See, now it's better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hold it like this.
All right.
Like
Well, let me resaturate myself.
like you want the mic to smell your breath.
That's weird.
But that's
really
have you ever
weird.
seen people on podcasts? That's how they talk.
Oh yeah, like the people on ASMR where they go.
Oh God, no.
You know what's funny? We had a lot of requests for that actually. We had people asking about, is Hussain gonna do ASMR? Like after that meme got posted on the Facebook page.
I don't think I have an ASMR voice though.
No, you do. You do, according to the customers. Deadass?
Do you guys fantasize me?
Have you not read the Facebook comments?
I try not to.
That one post about the add-ons for the tunes.
Oh yeah, but that's like obvious joking though. Like, do people actually want
How many of those
ASMR?
people were actually not joking?
I don't know. I've never thought of having an ASMR voice. I have a lisp. I know that. I wonder how bad that's gonna sound with a mic this close to my mouth.
It's gonna be like whistling every 2 seconds.
I need water.
You're
All right,
welcome.
get your first question ready while I drink water.
Yes. Okay, so part of the startup of this was through the Instagram posts where I said, okay, well, what do y'all want to hear us talk about more? Because I know there's plenty of things that we talk about, post about, address. And again, we don't go into as much detail as people would like, or they'd like to hear more. They want to hear our opinions. They want to hear all the stuff that we don't just like put out there. So that's why I posted what I posted and asked, all right, well, what do y'all actually want to hear? So it's not us just bullshitting the whole time. The big thing for today, obviously, this is hopefully the last time we're going to have to talk about this anywhere.
Oh God, the Z.
Everyone wants to know about the Z.
Okay, this is the last time you're gonna hear me talk about it. I've talked about it on CPAN's Cars and Chatterpod with Caesar and CPAN out in Cali. We made multiple posts about it. I've commented on Facebook posts. Okay, this is what happened. Alex took the car out for a drive. Dong took the car out for a drive. I was following in the truck. We wanted to take pictures of the car because it was genuinely a really nice day. And it's really funny because one of the pictures of the burnt Z has this like beautiful cloud and like beautiful sky in the background. It looks like a pleasant day. And then it's just a burnt Nissan Z. But hold the mic closer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, we went for a drive. We were gone maybe a mile and a half from the shop. And we made a U-turn because we were going to go start taking roller shots. And he pulled over. I'm like, what's going on? I got out. He's like, yo, it's smoking. And then we're looking for the smoke. And it was coming from either under or inside the passenger cabin. And in the, like, I don't know, 5 minutes that we were trying to find it, the whole thing just caught in flames. Luckily, a Harris County sheriff was around. He pulled over. He blocked off traffic. He tried to use a fire extinguisher. Unfortunately, he's not trained to put out fires, I'm sure. So he tried his best. He grabbed the fire extinguisher and tried spraying underneath the car, which didn't help because there wasn't, I don't think it was originating underneath the car. And which is, I think that's what the investigation came to the conclusion to, is that it started inside the passenger cabin. Anyway, it didn't work. Fire department took like 20 minutes to get there. By the time they got there, the whole thing was just up, and it was not going to be recoverable at that point. And anyway, insurance did an investigation for a month. And, they hired an outside firm. I spoke with the outside firm. They interviewed me extensively. They interviewed Alex extensively. I showed them the place where the car burned down. They went to go view it at the lot that it was sitting at. And they came to the conclusion that it was most likely an OEM circuit that caught on fire. But they didn't conclude that without, without doubt, because there's nothing left to see. But that they're like, it had to be some sort of OEM circuit. They concluded it was an electrical fire for sure. And then they don't know what OEM circuit because there's nothing to trace back. And the reason we say OEM is we didn't have anything wired in the car, so.
Yeah, not on the inside, no.
Yeah,
you can actually look at the pictures too that we uploaded of the engine bay, and it's.
Yeah, and the engine bay is perfect. So once again, it was not tuning related, not parts related. It was just an unfortunate accident. And I thought about not getting another Z. I mean, I think a lot of people at the shop, a lot of our close friends know I was saving up to buy like a nice car for myself as a nice daily. I was looking at, buying like a used LCI M5 or something like that. And I was like, you know what? We got to get another Z. We can't be out of the VR30 game. We got that broken Infinity that sits in the back. So we bought another Z, and that's where we're at. We had to keep going. But yeah, that's the last time I'm going to talk about it. It's just not it's not a topic that's fun to talk about over and over, just because it was a stressful time for us and it was unfortunate. We all really love that car. A lot of people in Houston really like that car. People still ask us about it. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the Z.
Yeah.
There's nothing more. It's not like we're leaving out anything. Everything we've said on all of the posts, all the videos, all that, it's the truth. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to believe it. My buddy was like, bro, why did you even post that? Now wherever you go for the rest, no matter where you post, what cars you tune, someone's going to comment and be like, oh, aren't you the guy that burned down his Z? And I'm like, you know what, man? I built this business on honesty.
Yeah.
I've always been open with everybody. I've showed them everything we've done. I could have lied and pretended that didn't happen. Like, oh, yeah, we sold it off. We got a base model. And maybe no one would have questioned it. But the thing is, people are always going to find some reason to hate or, to find something they don't like about what you're doing. And so we're like, you know what? It's going to happen either way. So we're just going to come out and be upfront about it. But yeah. Let's move on. The Z's gone. We got a new Z. We got this podcast going. So
yeah. Well, that's actually a good leader on to the next question. What do we think Nissan really fumbled on the new Z? Where did they fall short? Because obviously we now had to look at the performance model and the base model. We have a good comparison of the two.
Man, our viewers are going to hate me. I know everybody's tired of me making the comparison for like B58s, but I mean the Supra, the Z is a competitor to the Supra. Like, I know people they don't like to hear that, but if you look at the price point, the Z isn't that much better priced than a Supra, even if you get it at MSRP. Like, sure, the base model probably is better priced, but the performance trim certainly is not. If you're paying 50, 56, 57 out the door for a performance, you can get a Supra for around 60. I think the Supra MSRP is in the 50s, is it not? What is a Supra MSRP? Can you see?
Let's see.
We're going to tell you right now, live. I need water.
What year are we going
Who's
for?
Who's calling me?
Let's see. Hang in there with me. I'm holding the mic
972.
Looks like for a 21 GR for a 3.0, they're sitting at about 54. So the same, actually.
Okay.
Same price range.
So a GR Supra with the B58 is 54, and you're paying 54 for a performance. So when you look at that, sure, power-wise, they're pretty similar.
Stock.
But the interior quality on the Z is absolute trash. The Z has the Supra beat in exterior looks, I think. I think the rear three-quarters of the Z is one of the nicest out there.
It's really hard.
It's
on the front.
It is hard. The front is not that great, but the rear three-quarters, the retro look, the retro styling, I like it. I know a lot of people like it. I think the Z wins on that. The Z can run some nice wheel specs like all Zs always have, right? You can stance these cars out really nice. They got a good look. They get attention. But as a driver and as a car enthusiast, it doesn't compare. Like, power-wise, you can get it to compare. I'm not saying that about power. I think the VR, we're running, we ran low 8s, 60 to 130 on 93. Mark ran a low 7, 60 to 130 on E30. We're running 10 sevens on 93. Like, that's right there with the Supra, with the same amount of mods, same reliability. That's not in question here. This is not a power thing, right? We'll get to that, but that's not at stock turbo levels. They're pretty equal. I would say the VR30 has an edge on stock turbos, but the Supra is just a well set up car. If you truly believe the Z is a good competitor for the Supra, please go test drive a Supra in stock form. The 9-speed transmission is absolute dog shit.
Very jerky.
It's worse than the 7-speed. We used to complain about the 7-speed shift logic. The 9-speed is so much worse. It is very jerky. It's very clunky. It has the same issues that early model 9-speed Mercedes complained about, which makes me think that Mercedes in this joint venture gave them some really old version of the 9-speed, because the new 9-speed Mercedes do not drive as badly as the Z does. The seats are uncomfortable. It's loud as a cabin. The automatics get this muffler delete exhaust from factory, and it drones a lot.
It does drone.
It's not a nice sound. The dash is nice. The infotainment's nice. It's functional. It's usable. I'd say it wins out over the Supra in that. I don't like how BMW puts a little tablet screen on top. But other than that, like I think the Z is just it doesn't win there. And it also, like, if you get into suspension and like how the stock suspension feels when you're taking corners and everything, it's not good. Like it's just straight up not good.
And you'll see that on our video that's coming up soon. I guess I can talk about it on the podcast
Yeah.
because we're on the podcast. But we actually took it down the tail because we happened to be passing through Tennessee on the way home with the Z.
Yeah, so that'll be on the video. That'll be fun.
Cornering is just
It's horrible.
not there. And granted, the tires that the base model are on
And doesn't have an
aren't
LSD
really
either.
capable for that. Yeah,
So
that made a difference.
that's
too.
one thing I will say. If you can get a base model for $43K, it is a great value proposition. I think the $10K they charge for the performance is purely for that interior, which it's still uncomfortable. It's still made of the same materials. It's got leather seats, sure, but all the soft touch leather, like on the dash and the door cards, is not soft touch. The cloth feels the same, and everything else is vinyl or plastic anyway. So, I mean, if you want to compare it, then I'd say the Z wins out if you get a base model, because for $5K in suspension and another $5K in mods, you're way better than a Supra from stock.
Other than the seats,
Right?
I will give
Other
you
than
the
the
seats
seats.
feel like they're breaking already.
The seats are not good, but I mean, we're just gonna put seats in there. I'm excited for the Nismo. The Nismo looks good, but again, the price point is never gonna justify. But the Nismo will be worth it because it's a collector's item,
Yep.
right?
Hold its value a lot better.
But I mean, performance-wise, stock turbo, the Z is gonna win. The VR30 has always been better on a stock turbo than the B58s. My B58 customers can hate me for that. The B58 groups can roast me. You guys roast me anyway because I tune VRs. But again, boat motor. I mean, we're getting there though with the full frame turbos with Z1s.
Finally, yeah.
We made 789 on that one on a main line, which is, you can't say that is reading high. We made that on that Q. We're probably gonna make similar numbers on Zs, and I think that'll be the comeback of the VR30 a little bit for the big turbo, but. And I think B58s also, like after 800, they all have to build the motor. So it's not so unmatched anymore. But we definitely need TCM support for the 9-speed. That's what's going to be a game changer for the Z. The 9-speed is horrible right now. And I think, I was messing with the TCM tuning earlier today. We had that as a question. I'm just going to address it right now. Stop asking me about it. When it's ready to release, I will tell you guys. I'm not trying to hide anything with the TCM from you guys. Like, I'm working with Evan at HP Tuners. I'm working on getting a file made. I'm just testing it out to make sure that it's doable for a remote tune process, which it currently is not. So I don't have any updates on it. But
It's been the big question too on the Instagram.
yeah, because everybody's excited about it. I know.
I
mean, and I get why we're excited. And I think with the TCM tune, the 7-speed's people are gonna start loving their VR30s again. That 7-speed, after having a Z and pushing it, I can honestly tell you, I wish the 7-speed was still in the Z. I wish it was an option because I much prefer the 7-speed with the the torque tables and the line pressure bumps from ECM tuning. I much prefer that over the 9-speed on a Z.
And me personally, just from driving that one stock back home, I would probably say it the same. From driving the few 7-speeds that I've driven, just being at the shop, that one was not the most fun.
It's not.
Not that it's all that unbearable to be uncomfortable, but
It's pretty unbearable.
Really.
But I also drive an S8 for a daily, so.
Yeah, so he's got like the most comfortable car in the world, so it's not the best person to ask about this, but in comparison, even for a stock car, like straight out the dealership for it to be jerky like that is a little bit questionable to me, especially on something that was so hyped, so talked about.
Yeah.
And then just for them to release it as is,
Do better, Nissan.
First gen release, we know how that goes. It'll probably be corrected. Supposedly on the Nismo, they worked on the trans.
The trans has a different part number. I did confirm. I saw rumors that it had more clutches or something. I don't know if that's true, but I know there's a different part number. So hopefully it's a better trans with a better TCM logic.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get our hands on one and actually look at it. So if anybody wants to bring one over to the
Bring
shop,
us a Nismo. I mean, I don't even think anyone has, and I don't think anyone's gonna have a Nismo before like October probably, but probably even later. I'd say December.
Seen a few floating around the Facebook page on the Z page, but I don't
like
know
they're on the ground. There's Nismo Z's on the ground.
I don't think so.
That's
These are most likely, I don't want to say protos, but ones that they've had out just for show, display cars.
I don't like the yellow. Do you like the yellow?
Honestly, even for somebody that owns a yellow car, I'm not digging the yellow.
Oh God, did you know that she has a highlighter yellow Civic?
An SI, yes.
It is
It's a
the most
special release.
uncomfortable car I have ever sat in my life.
This is not a coilover, man. Mind you, I did this to myself. Before I touched the car, it rode like a dream. Adaptive suspension.
Why'd you ruin it?
Nice. Because
For clout?
I had
Say it
a
was
static
for
car
clout.
before this one, so
Yeah.
it feels like home.
She did it for clout.
Yeah, I guess so. For my own clout.
You know what's surprising though? Her highlighter Civic gets more attention than it should.
It's
bothers
really
me.
unfortunate, even when I'm not driving it. Because I wanted before so badly to pull the, oh, well, it's just because I'm a girl driving a car, right? Because that's usually the case. Let's be honest here. I drive any car and it's going to get attention just because a girl is driving it. I hate to say it like that. But even
I was
like, the few
afraid
times
to
Dom
hire
drives
her.
it.
Because of that stigma, to be quite honest. Not in like a horrible way, just because car guys can be creepy. And I
Yeah.
was like, do I want to expose Anna to that? But she was already working at a dealership, so she was already dealing with that.
Yeah, except it's a lot worse working in a dealership. I'll be honest with you. They act like you don't know anything.
Isn't
My
that
used car
why?
manager-
Yeah, isn't that why you came here in the first place? You
It
you got told you were stupid.
I did by a guy that told me a 12-volt battery only goes in hybrids. Yeah, that was a fun
Don't
fight.
go to Hyundai dealerships for service. Hyundais are cool cars. I like some of them, but
They're getting better. They're on the come up.
dude,
Design-wise.
I really like the Palisade. Wow, I bet you the mic is
shut
picking
up?
up these. Can you guys not?
Speaking of dog,
We're on a podcast.
got Dumb and Dumber walking in the
Hey,
room.
can you fill my water?
This is how you treat your employees.
This is
Yes.
literally how I treat my employees.
Hey, whip your dick out. Pitch it.
The mic picked that up.
It's okay. This is why this is the unhinged platform
Wait,
for
is
us
this
to say
called
whatever.
outside the box?
It's outside the box. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my
In case you're wondering who gave us the idea, it was Dom.
Okay, go away. Get me my water, please.
Anyways, what were we talking about? The new Hyundais. Yes, the designs have gotten a lot better. I really like the retro look that they've gone with.
I like the Palisade. I like the new Santa Fe. That nice boxy look. They went for copied the Defender, and I'm not mad about it.
I'm really
Honestly,
not mad about it.
I'm really happy about the retro comeback on a lot of cars. The Santa Fe, the new Land Cruiser. Okay,
It looks
the
like
Land Cruiser is not a Land Cruiser. The real Land Cruiser is not coming to America because they said we don't need it because we have the LX600. So what they gave us is what's called a Prado in other countries. Anyway, that's what we got. But I like the retro look on it. I hate that it's a 2-liter hybrid turbo, but whatever. It's a nice looking car.
Yeah.
And then the new GX 550. Oh my God, I want one so bad. They're so nice. So I'm a fan of all the retro looks. I'm back at Hyundai's. Hyundai's been on top of that game with the Ioniq 5 and all that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
I've been
Loyal
begging
servant.
once EVs come into the play if we can get an Ioniq 5 because I simp for those. I'm not an EV person. I'm not a big Hyundai person, but the designing is
Bro,
just
you could
insane.
put some nice dish wheels on that.
Dude, it would go crazy.
It would look so good, Slam. You know what's crazy? You guys should all Google Kia EV6 with a body kit. There's like some $6,000 body kit that people are putting on them and they're slamming them.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. They look so good. Just like the new Prius. I'm a huge fan of the new Prius.
Too.
I'm so glad that EV manufacturers are finally like making their cars look good instead of forcing them to look like an EV. They're just like, hey, what actually looks nice as a car?
Yeah, and that is the EV look now, honestly.
It is,
Car
yeah.
brands are picking up on this.
Yeah, the
It's getting
e-trons are pretty
competitive.
sharp. I'm a big fan of e-trons because I have an e-tron. Well,
Yeah, they've grown
My
on
wife
me.
has an e-tron, but it's mine.
You have a few e-trons in the family, huh?
Yeah, I do. Shout out to Audi Sugarland.
I like the sedan version, the car version of the
Oh, the e-tron GT. Yeah,
It
that
looked
looks nice.
nice.
Yeah, I
Looks
wanted
like-
one, but SUV seem more practical for Insia, so.
Makes sense. It's a comfortable car. I'm not
It
gonna
is.
lie. I'm not a big SUV person, but the one day I drove that e-tron, I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of nice, I guess.
Yeah.
I was trying so hard not to compliment it too, because you've been on me about getting an Audi. So I was like,
I
wow.
want you guys to know Anna had the option to buy an Audi S6 with 80,000 miles, good service records. I vouched for the car. It had the OEM Akrapovic exhaust, which is like a $7,000 to $10,000 option. It would have cost less than her freaking highlighter Civic is worth. And Anna said, no, I want Civics because they carve corners. What corners is she carving in Houston, guys?
Hey man, you go out near Old Katy, Brookshire.
Oh, yeah, Katie
Brookshire
Hockley Road.
Backroads,
Yeah.
Old Katy Hockley.
No, I'm being sarcastic. There's
It's like,
nothing here.
no.
There's no corners to carve.
Bruh. Also, when I went to college up in Huntsville, out near
Okay, Sam Houston
Livingston,
National Park is nice. Or National
Well,
Forest.
If you care about your paint, I don't suggest driving out there. But
Why?
those back roads, it's mostly gravel and dirt. I'm okay
No,
with dirt.
there's nice roads through
gravel.
Sam Houston National Forest without
The
gravel.
fun roads are on gravel and not really marked on the map. Those are the
I
good
didn't know
roads.
that. We should take Ronnie's 4x4 and just go.
The 4x4. It would be fun.
It would
We
be
used
fun.
to take my friend's Camry out there actually on this road called Demon's Road out there, and fuck around as college kids do. And there's a lot of roads leading up to that are very windy and fun to slide your car.
We
out
should
on,
take.
if you know how to slide on gravel.
We should take the
Disclaimer.
e-tron. Instant torque.
Do you care about your
Torque
paint?
vectoring.
I mean the.
It's a lease. I don't care about the paint.
Oh well, there you go. So I guess it doesn't matter. Like the Super, right?
Yeah, we should take the Supra out.
We should.
Like Austin Ford.
Low key.
You never seen Austin? He's one of our customers in Lubbock. He like.
Wait, is that the yellow Super?
Yeah, he does the
I've
what clunker cross or whatever. He like made a whole dirt track and he drifts the Supra around it. That's a lot of fun.
It might as well be a rally car at this point. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick. We should get into rally. That'd be pretty cool. That's very expensive though.
We can barely break into new markets for regular tuning. How do you expect us to break into rally markets?
I feel like that's very hard.
Everybody
to keep
just
too.
associates us with VR30s and drag racing.
Yeah.
Like
And we're
that's
fighting
all
for
we're
that
known
B58
for.
title too.
Yeah.
We have been
I'm tired
fisting
of
nail,
fighting.
man. We're getting there for sure.
What else you got for me?
Okay, so I know you said that you didn't want to be asked about TCM tuning, but there was one
I already
more
responded. Okay, fine.
There
What's
was
the
one more
question?
question in regard to that. We got way off topic. So they want to know what potential and characteristics do you think will come with the TCM tune? What are you anticipating, really, I guess?
Better daily drivability is going to be the main one that you're going to notice.
Yeah.
Oh, Ronnie's trying to start a car. I wonder if the mics will pick it up. Anyway. Oh, no, that's his impact. Oh, God. Daily drivability. As most of you know, the 7 speeds, you're in like 6th gear at like 30 miles an hour. We'll fix that. That's going to be it. That's going to be a lot of it. It's going to be smoother on partial throttle, and on wide open throttle, it's going to be shift logic where I no longer have to yell at you guys that you're shifting too late or too early. I can just send you a tune that forces your car to shift where I want it to shift. And then hopefully slightly faster shifts. But to be quite honest, the 7-speed does not shift slow. ZF8s, if they're not tuned, shift slow because there's a lot of torque intervention. The 9-speed shifts slow, but the 7-speed was always really crisp shifts. That's why I love that transmission. It really doesn't need a TCM tune other than daily driving. So it's going to help with that, and then hopefully we can lock out first gear for second gear launches. That would be sick.
That would be sick.
Yeah. Maybe help with a little bit with like stalling, but you're going to need an upgraded converter anyway. But I think the main difference most people will notice is daily driving. Yeah.
No kidding. And then will there be a trans tune for the 7-speed on the VR30? Somebody asked that on Instagram, legit.
Isn't that what we just talked about? A trans tune
Specifically.
on the 7-speed for the VR30. Isn't that what we're talking about, Anna?
Mhm.
So someone asked that question.
Mhm.
In regard to the TCM tune,
Which is
someone
what it
asked,
is.
will there be a 7-speed?
I had to put it on there just to fuck with you.
I hate I hate all of you. I want you to know that when I'm up at night and I can't sleep, I'm thinking about questions like this. And how, with your reading comprehension skills, you have made it this far in life to be able to afford a several $100 tune for a decently expensive car. I mean, Q50s get clapped, but it's not like a Camry or a Corolla. So
I mean, we did lower our prices.
I genuinely, we did lower our prices. I genuinely wonder how some of you guys like get through life.
I worry about some of these people, as they leave, we're out here showing them launch control and then they're taking off as they leave. And I'm like, I wonder how this is going to go for them. We wish you all the best, of course, but
We've
we have our
actually had
questions.
a few customers over the years that have crashed their cars and stuff. And
Oh, no kidding.
I mean,
Glad I
I guess
wasn't
it comes
around
with
for
the territory. I know we feel bad every single time, and we sometimes wonder and we think back like, should we vet people before we give them a tune? But like, it's not our job.
It's not.
and
We're not your parents.
At the end of the day, I think tunes bring people happiness, so we try and look at the bright side. But it's always sad when we see people who lose control because they weren't ready for the power the car was making.
That's my fear too. This was actually a kind of a recent topic for us at the shop here as well. People that are able to buy as much horsepower as they want and I don't feel like they practice or drive up to that horsepower. If that makes any sense.
I can, I have firsthand experience with that. So before I started Racebox, my fastest car I'd ever had was my Infiniti Q50 Red Sport. and I got a rear wheel drive because we're in Texas and there just wasn't all wheel drives easily found. And at the time, I didn't even really think about it. It wasn't even something that crossed my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably fine. It's set up, and we all know queues are not set up for digs and launching and stuff. But that car, so my fastest car before that I'd ever had, we had the Genesis, the 2016 Genesis with the 3.8, not even a 5.0, and it was an all-wheel drive, and I never had an issue with that. And then, I'd rented Camaro SSs, I'd rented S550s, all that kind of stuff. But I had the Q, and at stock power levels, I knew how to drive it. As soon as I tuned it with that, like, instant torque, and then, I right away understood why there's that whole, like, meme about Mustang owners, right? I think it's because a lot of people get into it, and it's a lot of power for most people who aren't into the racing scene, right? And so I had that, I was like, oh, okay, like I really need to learn how to drive this thing. And I had a lot of close calls at tracks and stuff before I got comfortable knowing how to feather the car, stay in it when I need to, and that kind of stuff. And then, I mean, obviously with a drag radial, it's better, but even drag radials tramline a lot up top. So a lot of people think they're going to slap on a drag pack and they're going to be good, but if you don't hook on a drag pack, it's going to be a lot worse than if you're on street tires.
Yeah.
And so, I think people really do need to consider that. But then I do understand that, like, hey, power is really easily accessible.
It is, especially now
hard.
that stock cars are coming with a lot of horsepower as is now.
Yeah. But, generally stock cars, most manufacturers set up the suspension to match, right? Yeah. It's mostly only Nissan that falls behind on that.
It seems like it these days.
Yeah.
If Nissan is watching this, please explain yourself because we want a lot of answers.
We do.
We have many questions. Speaking of which, how do you think you can push 500 plus on VR30, which we've actually seen ourselves plenty of times? Had somebody ask this. I'm assuming they want specifics because they're asking about the do's and don'ts of mods as well.
Can I take the call instead of answering?
No. We're doing this for the people asking the questions.
Do you think it's picking up the ringtone?
Oh, guaranteed. It's loud and echoey.
Let me turn it off. Oh, that was Mustafa calling. The guy who did all our logos and stuff. Okay. 500 horsepower on a VR30. Here is how you're going to do it. You're going to buy our RBO packages that Anna was supposed to make a logo for 2 weeks ago.
I've been working on it. This is my first logo. It's easier
Anna sucks at her job. Okay, anyway, whatever. You're going to buy our RBO package. You're going to buy the RBO 85 package, which is basically a full E package, which means anything. It just means you can run over E50. It's going to include a high pressure pump, a low pressure pump, your choice. It's going to include a flex fuel kit, mandatory. It's going to full down pipes and an exhaust. Again, mandatory to make 500 wheel. Intakes are optional. You get intakes, it helps. If you don't, stock intakes will make 500 wheel as well. Not every car is going to make 500 wheel. It's going to be 480 to 520 realistically. But yeah, that's what you do. That's all a VR30 needs, whether it's a Z, a Q50, a Q60, or if they ever put a VR30 in something else. That's all you're ever going to need. It's just those things, and you run full E and you're making 500, or you run race gas or meth on 93 if you want, and you can run 500 wheel.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Can't believe we still get asked this question.
Yeah, we get asked that a lot. We also got asked about the what oil do you put in your car? We get that all the time.
What oil should I use? We're making a joke because in the South, is it a Texas thing or is it a Southern thing?
I don't know. My problem is I used to travel a lot back in the day. I pick up on accents everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So I have random quirks on words that I say.
So
oil,
people here say oil instead of oil. I think it's a Southern thing. I don't think it's a Texas thing. But anyway, what oil should I use in my car? Because I don't have an answer for it, to be quite honest. There's not a good answer. I mean, it's a very lengthy answer, and I can give it here again. But essentially, the cars come with OW20 from factory. From factory, for sure, they come with OW20. Some dealers, when you go in for an oil change, will put in 530 for you, right? Because it's an approved weight. But in general, you have OW20, and then, it's the summer months, and you look at your idle oil pressure, right? And if your idle oil pressure it should be above 20. If it's like consistently falling below 18, you want to run thicker oil. If it's falling below 15, you've got a spun bearing and it's too late. But anyway, let's say your motor is healthy. Below 18, put thicker oil. So you can go from OW20, go to 520 or 530, and your oil pressure should go up. Until and unless your oil is over like 220, and then it'll start dropping again. And then at wide open throttle, your oil pressure should be 50 to 55. These cars don't make more. It's just impossible the way the oil pump is designed. So as long as you're holding those, you're okay. The main thing is that your idle oil pressure should be around 20 or more. So if you're below 20 and the car is not hot, like let's say it's at 100 degrees, 180 degrees oil temp, and you're at 17 psi oil pressure at idle, go ahead and try thicker oil and then see what happens. If you get it up, if you want it to be around 20, 21. And you just test with that. Most people are not going to go through the testing, so they just want an answer. So what we say is 530. Go for 530. But yeah, if you want my personal experience, on my Q50, my old Red Sport, I ran Rotella T6 all day. I used to say I'd get a Rotella tramp stamp because it's such good oil. But Rotella T6 5W40, you can't go wrong with it, even though it is thicker. But we live in Houston. So, I probably wouldn't run the same thing in like when it's negative 30 outside up north in the winter. And that's the other thing. Change your oil if it's not getting the temperature, you got to run thinner oil. And that's where it's at.
We just did that on the Z. First thing we did when we came back.
Yeah, took out the crap 020. What was it? Already black after your drive down, right? Do better, Nissan. Hey, but you know what? Black oil doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means it's doing its job. Oil is supposed to change color. If it was sparkly, I definitely would have not gotten a Z. I think I definitely would just be done with personal VR30s after that.
Even getting that Z for us was just about a liability at the rate we were going anyway.
Yeah, it was. We do have to finish what we started. That's a good way to put it. Oh yeah, so Mark is supposed to send me his coilovers. Funny story, Mark bought the coilovers a while ago, and then he bought another set of coilovers because he can't help himself. And he was like, what was that, Amazon? If somebody walks in, yeah. Do you want to go talk to them real quick? And we'll continue this question. I'll just talk while you go. So Mark bought, he had coilovers, he had 2 sets. And he was like, hey man, do you want my other set? And I was like, I don't know if I want it. So then I didn't get it. And then I bought the Feel R Pro coilovers from Z1. And they were good, but then on the last Z, they kind of fused with the bushings and everything after the fire, so we couldn't recover them or anything like that. So we need new ones, so Mark still has his Feel. So I was like, oh, all right, I'll buy them. So I'm waiting on Mark. Mark, ship me my coilovers. Anyway, this weekend we're putting a bunch of bolt-on parts on the Z. So we're going to put the exhaust, downpipes, intake. I think that's it. Yeah. Who was that?
Exhaust, with the minimal Spanish that I understand, I got Uber. He's an Uber driver who's looking for the person that he's picking up who's very much not good.
People do this all the time. They come to us and they think they see 2121 Britmore and they just assume that we are 2121 Britmore, even though this whole plaza is 2121 Britmore. One of the reasons I don't want to stay here when we leave is honestly, we don't get any foot traffic except for people who are here for the wrong reason.
Oh yeah, they literally don't walk up, look at the big Racebox sign, and be like, "We sell cars." No, we're not. Who is that back there that's selling cars? Like, they come in.
Freedom Supercars, maybe.
They come in asking for weird stuff. They're like, "Oh, Camry. Oh, I heard that you had this Corolla."
What? Really?
Yeah, I don't know who's back there selling cars.
None of us. That's weird. Yeah. No. We also have people who come in and are like, "Oh, I'm here to pick up the radiator." I'm like, what radiator? Like, just because there's a lot of car stuff. They assume any car stuff, Racebox. But, like, no one comes in here being like, hey, man, I just saw your sign. What do you guys do? I want to tune my Q50. No, it's never happened. Not once. And we're on, like, frontage. We have good road frontage and a big sign. So, clearly, there's no reason to be on a good road frontage because everybody ships their cars from out of country. Right now, that car's from Colorado. The red car that was there a second ago is from Tennessee. In the back, we have one car from Texas.
We had that guy, was that yesterday? Or was yesterday from Iowa?
Yeah, we had 2 kids drive down from Iowa. Almost all of our work is out of state, so.
Yeah. I don't think that it helps that we're on an industrial road. Industrial. If we were off
we're very close to Beltway 8.
We are.
And Britmore gets a lot of traffic at rush hour time. People travel through here to go home.
I would rather go through here than go down Beltway 8.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions for this first podcast?
No, this is all I had for this one. trying to keep it limited more, just to kind of introduce what we're doing with it.
Cool. I hope that when I end this and I click save, I don't mess up and it stops recording. That would be the worst thing, to lose this entire recording.
I guess we could fix our like awkward and fucked up intro, but that'd be the only benefit from that.
I don't think it was awkward. I think that's how all of our intros start. Even the videos. You know why they start like that? Because I don't know what to say. Like, no one gives me a script. They're like, hey, dude, get on video. And I'm like, talk about what? And then they just start recording while I'm asking what the hell we're talking about. And that's been like every YouTube video so far.
That's like tradition now, though. I feel like we have to do that to you.
Yeah, that's fine. I never have a warning when I walk in here. Like, you know what? I'm going to make a list of the weirdest shit that I have seen go down in the shop when I walk in. And I'll bring it for the next podcast. You guys can enjoy that.
Yeah, I think we have clips of it too. Plenty of times of you talking to us through the camera, not knowing, or just walking in and getting bombarded with random cameras. Memes, all of the above. He's not subjected to any kind of safety from memes either. Don't worry.
Your voice is so quiet. You see those big spikes? That's all me. Now talk. It doesn't even register.
It's not even registering.
Hey, is your mic unplugged, Anna?
No, it's plugged in. Okay, so my voice just doesn't carry.
No, your mic is unplugged. Look, it's not communicating anymore.
You unplugged it while I was away, didn't you? No.
It's only been going through mine. Yo, that's so bad. He's gonna have to artificially increase your voice the whole time. Did you mute yourself?
Yeah. No.
Is the light off? You muted yourself. That's mute, Anna. Blinking is mute. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Have you been muted this whole time? Say something.
Hello?
Yo.
Bro, he's the one that came over here and started pressing buttons.
Bruh.
This was sabotage.
Bruh.
At dong.
If you guys watch this whole podcast and Anna was quiet for like 10, 15 minutes,
maybe an hour.
leave feedback so I have grounds to fire dong. All right, and with that, we're going to end this.
Alrighty, signing out.
Cool, bye.